Good afternoon, friends and trader. Welcome to the market recap for Wednesday, October 14th. Hell of a day. We had news. We had stimulus talks came through. Mnuchin basically came out and said, looks like we're putting a pause on this until after the election. The markets took a little bit of a tumble. A little bit. Nothing huge. Came into some levels in the S&P we were talking about. We actually had some good opportunities today with stuff we talked about this morning. I hope you guys have all had a really good day. We are now officially more than halfway through the week. Weekend is just around the corner. We can see it now. News has been a relatively quiet day here today. Any of you guys have work at home with your dog? Do they crawl up under your desk and sit here and push on you until you give them attention? We've got little Sarge down here. Wants to say hello or just get in my way. Awesome. So, anyhow, news is relatively quiet. Supreme Court Justice talks with the Senate. Today is the last day. Going to keep an eye on how all that stuff goes, and we go from there. Just want to say hello to everyone. Felix, always the first one in the room. Good to see you, Felix. Level 2. Dan, did you have a day when you were more satisfied by a $30 micro winner than a $1,200 mini winner? Level 2, I can't say to the micro level, but I can speak to some days where I walk away with, a $100 positive day, and I feel better about that than I did about those big home run, knock out of the park types of days. We work harder for those little ones, right? Tanya, good to see you. John, what's up? What's up, everybody? Past step one today. Nice job, John. Congratulations. Super excited for you there. All right. Juan, good to see you. Awesome, guys. Yeah, level 2. That's how Sarge is. I've got... Here, I'll show you guys something. Just because it cracks me up. I have a couch upstairs. I have another living room in the upstairs of my house. And my dog, Sarge, loves to sit on the top of the couch. I swear I had a picture in here of it. I took one the other day. Can't seem to find it. Trying to scroll through here. Apparently can't find it. He likes to sit. He crawls up on the top of the couch. We've got a big leather couch with a big back wall to it. He crawls up and he sits on top of the couch and looks out the window. And he sits there for hours. That's where I fold most of my laundry. It drives me up a wall. All right. Before I get too off track here with talking about my dog, why don't we take a look at these markets and see what we had go down here today. All right. As always, we start with crude oil, which, guys, we said it this morning. Market right on the open, right before the open, I should say, really took off. We closed that gap that we were looking at the other day, that we closed again yesterday. We accelerated through that, and the next thing we said, like, okay, 60's that next level. We checked 60 before we sat down. We go from there, 80. We checked 80, and then we go, last level I had to look at, and then I had to make some adjustments, was getting up to 41.10. Market got there, moved through a couple cents, and then that's where we just kind of started to fall into a little bit of a pattern. Momentum ran out. Participation kind of died off. No real surprise there. Big move first, initial. And like we were talking about this morning, I don't remember who said it was, but they're sitting on their hands waiting for their chance to get in. We saw a little bit of a pullback. We came near that 80 level. Happens to be value area low here today. Price we looked at, we said, look at 80. We may find opportunity. Market came back towards 80. Here we go. Now is where we're starting to look for some opportunity to run this thing right back up to 41.10. Remember, our job lately is to recognize that total ranges in crude oil have slowed down just a little bit. And so if we're getting in up at, say, 80, we got to be a little cautious because we're taking a little bit of heat, but nothing huge, right? We're not looking to bring this thing back to 60 or even 50. We're simply looking at if we're getting in up here at 80, we can say This market kind of continues to bottom out around 74. Let's give ourselves a few extra ticks, maybe bring it down to 70. So we go long at 80, our stop down at 70, and we're running it up to 10. We're looking at 3-1, reward over risk, great opportunistic trade, $300 per contract of profit with only $100 worth of risk. If that's not a great little setup there, I don't know what is. Next, let's go ahead and look at S&P 500, which really just kind of held in the pattern for the first hour or so. We were looking at this 95 to 3,500 level. 3,500 is going to be value area high. Mnuchin came out and says stimulus just not going to happen until probably after the election. Mike, maybe we'll see something, but really just kind of dumping a bucket of cold water on the hopes for stimulus. Market broke down. And guys, it ran right to 34.74 and through by about two handles. That's what we were looking at this morning. We said if the market starts to break down, let's look to see if this thing gets to 74. And then from 74, we're going to have to readjust. Market came right down to 72, bounced off there pretty nicely, and then kind of fell into a pattern between 80 and 90. And so we got really tight here. So if we didn't catch either that initial opportunity this morning, we ran a little higher, bounced right off settlement price, right off the open. Great bounce to the extreme, right to that 20 we talked about. So guys, we had some great opportunities in S&P here today with some of the stuff we talked about. Market bounced to the tick. I think one tick through settlement price, rallied right up to 20. From 20, we broke down to 74. Just a couple different things that we talked about. I was actually looking at my levels this morning, and one of the things I said for my extremes, 35.20 down to 34.74, places to keep an eye on. And man, some days we get lucky, huh? All right. Next, let's go and look at Nasdaq. Nasdaq broke down as well here today. No surprise. Equity markets tend to work in conjunction of each other, but Nasdaq kind of just made it an all-day move to the downside. First things first, what are we paying attention to here? Well, this morning we said we're looking pretty tight from 110 to 115, and then we kind of had to expand that from 60 up to 180. 60 to 180 was kind of a range worth keeping an eye on. We rotated down towards 50, and that's where the market broke down. Broke down pretty good. The next thing we're thinking, okay, maybe 1,200 is going to be a stop for us. Nope, continued through, and this thing came right to Monday's. Probably could have been pretty darn close to a point of control. Early trading hours, high volume here. A little bit of consolidation brings people back in. We found some support down here right at that 900 level, and we have bounced. And now we're trying to get back up over 1,200, but it really just seems to be hesitant to make any sort of directional move, just like the S&Ps. Next, looking at the gold market. Well, guys, we did not make it up to that 1920 we were looking for. We didn't get there. Fell a few dollars short. Market broke down. Had a hard time getting back into yesterday's value area, and right here in the last half hour, finally rolled over and showed a little bit of acceptance. We'll see if it stays inside. But we fell a little bit short, and that's okay, right? 1920 was kind of an area that we'd been looking back on earlier this week, kind of coming into play here. Here's what I'm catching. Should have pointed out, should have made some more notion towards it. This swing low from Monday night into Tuesday morning should have caught our attention a little bit. Market checked it out. As soon as we got there, broke right down. Next, let's look at the currencies, and we'll get the heck on out of here. All right. Euro never went any higher from where we were. We said this morning, looking up here at 1780, if we can get through 1780, then 1800 comes into play. When the 1800 comes into play, we never did. Market started to roll over a little bit, had a hard time accepting into yesterday's range, and then we kind of fell really into a tight range. Once we got into yesterday's value area here, market kind of ranged out between there and didn't even make it. Barely even made it down to settlement price. It came down to settlement price, bounced right back off, and just kind of held pretty stable. So this is just waiting for something new. And lastly, looking at the yen, we got a little bit of movement. This thing took off. Didn't get up to that 36 that we were pointing out, but we really didn't expect. We thought that was a little egregious to see this market move all the way up to 36. But man, great momentum. Market gave us an opportunity finally right around 9:30 this morning, 9 o'clock. It kind of gave us a little bit of slowing down. Directional move. Our job is to look for the weakness. When we're trending higher, we had a little bit of opportunity right here to run this thing up just a little bit. And then we really could have sat in it all day. We've stalled out essentially a point of control here right at 95.20. Awesome, guys. Those are our markets here today. Again, it is Wednesday. We're getting close to the end of the week. Guys, I'm ready for the weekend. Just as a heads up, there will be no recap tomorrow afternoon. I will actually be in a webinar with Traders Army. Looking forward to that one. I think at this time tomorrow we're doing a little happy hour roundtable chat with a bunch of traders, so I'm looking forward to that. Got a couple things going on in here. James, just coming from the Expo. James, I'm glad you liked it. Got thrown a little curveball on Monday. Had to make some quick adjustments without John being here, but I had a good time and really enjoy hopping in and doing those types of things. Felix walking away with minus 99 and more than happy. Hey, way to go. Manage our risk. Even on down days, we can walk away with a positive feeling. Mike, good afternoon. Norman, good to see you. Level 2, 1 tick of heat. Yep. How can I add settlement price to my chart? Alexander, they got some platforms allow you to add it kind of as an indicator. Here with the TS Trader charts, I just draw it down every day. Just a simple line. I draw it on there. I get settlement price you can get it from a couple different places. You can get it from cmegroup.com, right on their website. Every contract, you can just click on it, and it gives you specifics for those contract months. You can get it there. You can get it from every platform has it as an option within the quote board. So if you have a quote board, you just pull up your quote board there and can take a look. And I just hand plot settlement price. Some platforms, like I said, do allow it. I use T4 quite a bit. That one has it as an indicator. A lot of my personal trading I do between CQG and TT. Those also have the option just to add it right on there. All right, other than that, if there's no questions, we'll take a look. Like I said, news, relatively quiet. Election talk heats up. Tesla continues to push a little bit. We're up at $460 a share. Pretty spectacular. Watch this thing keep going. VIX got our little spike, but no surprise, right? As market breaks unexpectedly, kind of on some news sort of event, we should expect to see VIX give us a little spike. We spiked up to 27 quarter just about, and we're breaking right back down. We're down towards 26.3. And let's just take a look. I want to touch on tomorrow. More banks coming through with earnings report. Morgan Stanley, Charles Schwab, and E-Trade. So those are a couple earnings to look out for tomorrow. This afternoon, I don't know if it's come in yet. I haven't seen anything. We're still expecting United Airlines, so that should be an interesting one. And other than that, guys, let's touch on this date in history and then get the heck on out of here and go enjoy our afternoons. 1947, Chuck Yeager breaks the sound barrier. First person to ever break the sound barrier. That's pretty wild. And now this thing's not letting me scroll down. There was a good one in here. Oh, here we go. In 1962, the Cuban Missile Crisis began. And then the last one, 1892, The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes were published. Other than that, guys, yes, level 2 oil is tomorrow. I was just talking about earnings. I didn't even get to, glad you pointed that one out. I didn't even get to our economic calendar for tomorrow. Oil tomorrow at 11 a.m. Central Time. But right before that, we're going to have natural gas inventories at 9:30 a.m. Central Time. I said 11. Oil is 10 a.m. Central Time. I do apologize. Just off there. And then 7:30 a.m. Central Time. Jobless claims. Philly Fed. And that's going to be about it for tomorrow. Other than that, guys, have a great day. I'm going to sign out of here. I'm going to go get some lunch finally. So I hope you guys all have a great afternoon. Stay safe. Wash your hands. Trade smart and trade well. I look forward to seeing you in the markets. Take care.